So it's that time again, your NBA weekly recap. And first off, I want to apologize because this recap is getting to you a couple days later than usual. And I know it's an excuse, but it's because of the holidays. My life has just been a lot busier lately with a lot of things going on. But I thought you guys would rather prefer a late recap than no recap at all. So I just want to say real quick, thank you guys so much for blessing my life. We had a wonderful Christmas over here, and from the bottom of our hearts, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Arnett family. So the first major bit of basketball news, and what I'm probably going to advertise in the thumbnail, is the fact that the NBA has a major sigh of relief after the Christmas ratings came in. Apparently, the NBA ratings were up 84% from the previous season, and I gotta imagine that nobody is happier about that than Adam Silver, as he's been having to see everybody, and I mean everybody, talking about the fact that the NBA is suffering and needs to make some changes. I can't say that I'm totally surprised by the NBA ratings being so great during Christmas, as the slate of games was really impressive, and the quality of the games themselves were also very stellar, as all 5 games were within 10-point margins, and there was plenty of star power on display. Some people will argue that the numbers were fudged a little bit, and that is possible. Nobody wants a better NBA rating story than the NBA themselves. Even if there's reasons why that bump was so massive to 84%, I think it's fair to assume that this was a major win for the NBA, and they'll take it regardless. The Lakers and Warriors was an absolute classic, as the final 2 minutes were insanely thrilling. Steph Curry was leading the comeback charge with some awesome 3-point bombs, but ultimately Austin Reeves came through with a game-winning basket, as he finished with a strong triple-double of 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Steph Curry finished the game with 38 points and 6 assists, while LeBron James had 31 points and 10 assists. Another classic Christmas game was the San Antonio Spurs versus the New York Knicks. Mikal Bridges dropped an efficient 41 points for New York, while Victor Wembanyama did his thing, exploding for a monstrous 42 points, 18 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 blocks. It's also worth mentioning that he attempted 16 3-point attempts. A 7'4" player shooting 16 threes is basically as 2024 NBA as it gets. Ultimately, San Antonio fell short, as they couldn't secure a rebound down the stretch, leading to them losing the game 117 to 114. Speaking of Wemby, he is on an absolute tear in recent weeks. Since November 11th, he's averaged nearly 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks. But even more recently, he's looking like Dikembe Mutombo on steroids, because in his last 4 games, he's averaging a goofy 7 blocks per game. Again, this is the era where more perimeter shots are taken, so theoretically, his blocks numbers should be lower. Yet he's putting up some of the best rim protecting numbers that we've ever seen since Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson were dominating the paint in the 1990s. Yet another thriller on Christmas was the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. Unfortunately, Luka Doncic had to leave the first half, as he suffered a calf strain that is projected to make him miss about a month of playing time. Every week, it seems like there's a new injury for this superstar. Anthony Edwards was clutch down the stretch, which resulted in the Wolves getting the win 105-99. Ultimately, the NBA has got to be thrilled about a Christmas Day that they badly needed. And basically, across the board, the stars performed like the stars, which I think was the biggest reason why the ratings saw such a climb. Although I should point out that maybe there's some credibility to the idea that NBA fans just don't watch as many basketball games as much as they used to. Like, maybe the intrigue is still there, but they just consume it differently. There's YouTube videos, there's social media clips, but when you get everyone sitting down at home for a Christmas Day game, that's when the viewers will actually tune in. I think it's an intriguing debate, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Is the NBA viewership actually as bad as we initially thought? Now, as great as all of that Christmas Day action was, the day after Christmas might have been low-key even more exciting, as there was a total of 4 game-winning baskets made on this night alone. Jordan Poole made this step-back jumper to give his Wizards the victory over Charlotte. Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat made this impressive leading jumper to steal the victory in Orlando. Scoot Henderson of the Blazers showed off his nifty footwork and hit this fadeaway to defeat the Utah Jazz. And lastly, Jaden Ivey hit this insane 4-point play to give his Pistons the win over the struggling Sacramento Kings. Speaking of the Kings being on the struggle bus, they ended their 5-game losing streak by firing their head coach, Mike Brown, which was a controversial decision to say the least. After all, Brown had just unanimously won the NBA Coach of the Year less than 2 full seasons ago. And overall, he's had a winning record with this franchise that typically doesn't see a lot of success. NBA head coaches in Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors and Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets were extremely critical of the decision made by Sacramento's management. Regardless, life goes on for the Kings players as they're now facing an incredibly tough schedule over the next 2 weeks. One Western Conference team that is definitely not struggling is the Memphis Grizzlies. At the time of recording, they've won 13 out of their last 16 games, and offensively, they're dialed in to a scary extent, as they put up an insane 155 points against the Toronto Raptors on December 26th. 8 Grizzlies players scored in double digits that game. They're now up to the 2nd seed in a remarkably strong Western Conference. Speaking of the West being a strong conference, it's about to get a little stronger, as Kawhi Leonard is looking to finally return from his knee injury and make his season debut on January 4th against the Atlanta Hawks. At least that's the date he's tentatively aiming for. The Clippers are currently in the middle of the playoff pack, and it'll be interesting to see how James Harden adjusts to having Leonard back in the lineup. Don't look now, but the 76ers are starting to turn their season around. Philly fans, you can thank me, because in a recap a few weeks ago, I said it was already looking like a dead season. And I just had that feeling that it was going to positively jinx them to make me look stupid. Leading the way is Tyrese Maxey, as he's taken over the team's offense of late. Philly has now won 8 out of their last 11 games, including a very impressive Christmas Day victory over the defending champion Boston Celtics. Again, they're still well under 500, but it's still early in the season, and it shouldn't be as hard for them to sneak into the playoff picture in the East as it would be in the West. So they just might be able to salvage this season after all. Here's a look at the current NBA standings. And here's a look at the latest MVP power rankings according to NBA.com. So what stood out to you in the last week of the NBA? And what do you make of the increased viewership during NBA Christmas? Is the league actually in bad shape or not? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.